Hello everyone. So sorry. I'm having issues with my laptop mic. I hope you all can still join me. Hello. I hope I'm live. Am I live? Okay, I'm live. It says I'm live. Okay, thanks for joining, Uzo. All right, Rebecca just joined. Chima joined. Hi, Uju. Welcome. Thank you for joining. Alex joined. Richard joined. Thanks for joining. Hey, I'm so sorry. I was on my laptop before, but the sound was really bad. So if you can hear me, can you just comment that you can hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, better. Thank you. Yeah, I had to really switch. This is my phone, so I hope the visual is really good. Okay. So I wanted to speak on spiritual abuse, basically how church staff members are treated in church organizations. And first of all, thank you all for joining me today. I'm excited that you joined. And okay, so I'm gonna start off to say this, like a lot of people have been victims of unfair treatment, in church organizations. I have experienced it myself, so I'm not just doing hearsay. I have experienced it myself, but I want to talk about this issue that usually people are afraid to speak about it, or if they bring it up, they're ashamed to keep quiet. They shame you. They're like, shut up, don't talk about it, but I mean, this is real. It's happening, so I just wanted to speak about this issue of not treating your staff members well. Now, as we all know, most church organizations are non-profit organizations. They're not established to make money. They're established to do the work of God. However, they bring on staff people that work for them for their church organization. Okay, first of all, I'm going to tell you my own experience. I'm going to tell you my story, and then we'll go from there. But I do want to say is this. Now, a lot of things that we knew or we were taught, especially when you feel like you are, called to the ministry, you have that calling into the ministry, you have that call, you feel it in you that you're called into the ministry, and most of us. Okay, I was just reading someone's comment. Okay, so I'm going to say this. Okay, first of all, when you have a call into ministry, or you feel that you're called into ministry, you have to know your purpose, first of all, because the fact that you have that feeling that you're called into ministry does not mean you're going to be a church staff. You have to ask God. You have to go to God, who is your creator, who is your manufacturer, what you're actually called to do, what your calling is, what he wants you to do with your life, because we're here for an assignment. Every one person is here for an assignment. So we have to know what our assignment is. And how do you find out what your assignment is? You find out by going to God, who is your manufacturer. So I'm going to say that abuse really stems, first of all, from not knowing our true purpose in life. Not knowing our true purpose, not knowing what you're really called to do. The fact that you have that call into ministry might not necessarily mean you're called to serve maybe someone else's vision, or, you really have to go to God to know. Because let me tell you, there's something I heard from Miles Monroe. He said, when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. When the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. So if someone that maybe says they're your pastor, they don't know what your true purpose is, they're going to abuse you. So you just have to know that. That's the very first thing you have to know. You will be abused. And so, for example, Mercedes-Benz, they have cars. They have the Mercedes, they have cars, right? And so if that car is faulty, you take it to Mercedes Benz. You don't take it to Toyota, right? That's how you know, because Toyota would not be able to fix it because they're not the ones that manufacture the vehicle. So when the car is faulty, when your Mercedes Benz is faulty, you take it to Mercedes Benz. So what I'm trying to say is, if you don't know your true purpose, if a pastor or leader, whoever, if they don't know your true purpose, I mean, you stand a chance of being abused. So what you need to do, first of all, is to find out your true purpose. You find out what God has called you to do, called you, even if you're in ministry. So I said this because, when we were in school, right? Like my own generation, I was in school from 2001 to 2004. So my generation, I know maybe people before me as well. When we were in school, right, we joined, maybe there were several fellowships on campus. We joined different campuses, different fellowships on campus. So the fellowship I belonged to, I served God with my life. I thank God for meeting them. I met leaders. I met with friends. I met some of the friends that I still have today. And so when I joined, I loved God so much. I loved it. It felt like I just came home, right? And so when I joined, I just had a sense of calling into ministry, right? And so when I left school, when I graduated from school, I knew right off the bat that I was called into the ministry. But you know what I did? I went to work as a church staff. Why? Because, we were trained, right, to go to your pastor, to know, what you're supposed to do or which area God is calling you to. And maybe those pastors didn't know too. So I'm not blaming them, okay? I'm just saying that we went to them and they would say, okay, go walk in church. That was just the thing. They'll tell you, go and walk in church. You're called to walk in church. You're called to walk in church. So all of us just, once we graduated from school, that we had a sense of ministry, we just thought that we're supposed to walk in church, right? And so we got to church and started walking. But the thing is this, but we never knew our purpose. We never knew our true purpose. So the fact that we started walking in church doesn't mean that that's our true purpose. And again, now it's possible that those pastors, they probably never knew because they were never taught that every individual in life has a true purpose. Every individual, even if you're called into ministry, you have to go to God to know what his true purpose for your life is. So the first mistake we made and we opened ourselves up to abuse is not knowing our purpose in life. And it's not, you don't have to find it, you have to discover it because it's in you. It's something that has to be discovered. And so my actual true purpose in life is to preach about purpose. It's to talk to people about finding their true purpose and also to stand against some errors in the church. But I went to join a ministry and I went to, identify with another vision that wasn't what God wanted me to do, but that's what I was taught. So what I want to let us know is we kind of missed it there. That's the first thing. The second thing I wanted to share is, regardless of if we missed it, there are some things that, went on, which actually is, is you would call abuse in the church. Now, coming from Nigeria, I was in Nigeria. I served 1 year in the ministry that I served. I was there 1 year. And after 1 year, when I saw the abuse there, I left. I told the pastors, I said, you know what? I'm going to the US. I'm going to for my master's, and I escaped. Why? Because I didn't feel like this was normal. I didn't feel like this was God's calling for my life. I didn't feel like this abuse was something that was right. So I left, and so one of the things that I wanted to also point out is, a lot of abuse that one of the things that I noticed there was, when we were paid, like in January, we were never even given our pay. You know, they told us that our pay was first fruits, and you don't even get it at all. You're not even given. And we were supposed to feed. How are we supposed to eat? Do you understand? If you take my whole month salary, the Bible says that the laborer is worthy of his wages. So if I work and you don't pay me, but you tell me that, sorry, the ministry believes that you're not supposed to be paid your month salary, your first month salary in January, and I'm not okay with it, but I have to succumb to it, then that's abuse. That is the first sign of abuse. And I knew this wasn't right. Why? Because you took it forcefully from me. I didn't give it free will, which the Bible also preaches that it has to be done free will. It must be free will. People must give it. And first of all, you pay the person, and then the person now decides to give it up. You don't hold it back and say, we're not even paying you. That's a first sign of abuse. And I believe it's still going on now. You know, that was against my will because I couldn't even eat. I couldn't even move around. I felt like I was in prison. You know, that was prison. And this needs to stop. And we're going to stop this. We're going to advocate for this to be stopped, because this is a first sign of abuse, not paying your workers. Now, not only do they hold back your January pay, some people experience being owed money for months. Now, this is illegal. I live in the US. This is illegal. You could get sued for that. You know, if you're going to bring on staff to your Christian organization and you hold back pay, you don't tell them that, you know, this is when I'm going to pay you. You don't inform them in email. Nothing is ever done. And then you just hold back pay for them. Right. Okay. Uju said you never get a reward for something you're forced to give you. Exactly. You know, first of all, I'm just pointing out that that's even abuse, because you shouldn't hold anybody's pay as a staff member, because that is what your organization is doing. That is just not even biblical. That is a doctrine from hell. I am so sorry. That is oppressive, and that is a form of oppression in the body of Christ. And that needs to be dealt with. That needs to be dealt with. And again, you know, this was happening in Nigeria. And, you know, Nigeria is a place where the justice system is not so strong or so effective. Pardon me. Now, it's been a while, so maybe it's changed. Maybe you can correct me, you know, but the justice system doesn't really do us good. So even if we are abused and oppressed, whether sexually, whether, you know, mentally, it's not, okay. It's really not doing us any good, because of the fact that, you know, the justice system is not even helpful. But I think that it's changing now. People can file, you know, suits, for sexual harassment, or, I don't know about abuse, but domestic abuse, obviously. But this other things that we're talking about, like, this was rampant also when I served as a staff, sexual harassment. I mean, the pastor just felt like he had access to your body. I mean, this, if he was in America, he would probably be in jail for that. You know, I was there. I saw it with my own eyes. I'm not saying somebody told me. You know, this was sexual harassment by the pastors. And they thought that because of their authority, they abused their authority. They thought because they were pastors, the main pastor, the senior pastor, they could do anything and get away with it, which was very wrong and evil. And this went on till I left. And I was like, this is not God's will for me. I'm out of here. And some other women did the same thing. They left. They were like, no, this is not even, this is not happening. So I did want to mention some of other things that I think that is abuse. Okay, for example, you have staff members that have worked for these ministries for 20, 30, 40 years. And these people don't have any pension. They don't have any pension. They don't have any kind, once they retire, I mean, they don't have anything to live off, but they served in church. I think it needs to be changed. Now, so I know that church organizations are non-profit organizations. But if you take on a number of staff, that means you should have calculated that you're able to provide pension or 401k for your staff members. You see what I'm saying? It cannot be living by faith. If you bring them on board to come work as a church staff, then you should have all these things available to them. That's doing the right thing. I think that's doing what's right. And if you neglect it, I think that you're abusing people. You're abusing God's people. If you bring them on board, you should be able to, I don't see why people should work for you for 20, 25, 30 years and they don't have any kind of pension plan. If they leave your organization, they don't have nothing. Some of them have children they need to send to university. I know of a lady that came to someone I know to beg for money to pay for her daughter's school fees. This is here in Houston. And this lady this woman has worked for the church for over 20, 25 years. And she couldn't even afford. They told her daughter that they're going to send her out of school. And she went around begging. Now, this shouldn't be. This is why I say we have missed priorities. If you cannot help your own church members, your own staff workers, even give them some kind of pension, set it up. Now, this is something you have to set up for them as they join your church organization. So, okay. And so I do want to say that, it's something that needs to be done. It needs to be tackled with. And so if you don't have pension or you don't have some kind of retirement fund for your workers, I think it's something that you need to, that needs to be done and needs to be, and needs to be tackled, because I think it's abuse as well. If you're going to employ them, then you might as well take care of them. In some ministries, only a select few have access to maybe extra funds, only a select few of an inner, how shall I call it now? A few people. So only a select few of those people. The rest don't really have, the genuine care, love that they're supposed to be shown. So I want to openly, it's something that we need to address. And people need to start speaking up. If you have cases or you know anybody, you need to speak up. We need to speak up, and you can DM me privately after this live video. You can send me a DM if you know anybody. We need to start taking up this type of cases to see what we can do the next step, because the Bible says the judgment of God will start from the church, and if this form of abuse keeps going on, we need to handle it. Okay, so I do want to go over a few things before I leave. I want to go over some things that I need to share about spiritual abusive ministries. Okay, ministries that are abusive, basically. The first thing I want to share is, the first thing they have a distorted view of respect. Okay, this is how you know a ministry that's abusive. They have a distorted view of of respect. These people demand respect from you, but they forget that respect is actually earned. It's not because you have a title then you're supposed to be respected. You have to earn it by your character. You have to earn it. People have to see and, see that you are worthy of respect before you are going to be respected. So that's number one. And then number two is demanding allegiance as proof of the followers' allegiance to Christ. Now, if you're in a ministry where you have to be, where allegiance is demanded from you to the person, to the head of the ministry, I mean, that's another way of telling that you are in an abusive ministry. You know, you have to pledge your allegiance. You're not free to speak your mind. You're not free to have a contrary opinion. You're not free to ask questions, or to have a view that's different from what has been prescribed as a way to think or act or speak. Now, then that's abuse, okay? So I wanted to speak about that. So that's one way to know that you are in an abusive ministry. Now, and this is really rampant in Africa because we don't really have a very solid justice system. And so a lot of church organizations are getting away with abuse, you know? So this is one way to tell. And don't waste your time. Why am I saying this? I'm saying it because you have one life to live. You have a purpose. God has a plan for your life, okay? And part of his plan for your life is not to endure abuse, okay? It's not to endure abuse because, you know, Christ already paid. He took care of everything, and we're not supposed to endure any form of abuse. So this is a way for you to tell when they're demanding allegiance to the person, the president or the head of the ministry. That's one way you can tell that this is abuse. Another thing is using exclusive language where the ministry, using exclusive language. For example, they say that their ministry is unique. Their ministry is the only ministry that is following Jesus. Or they say, you know, okay, there was one thing I heard one time. Back when I was in Nigeria. I heard them say something on the ministry they said, God has chosen our ministry to like take over the world. And I just immediately dictated that was wrong. You know, I said, why would God choose your ministry? What are the other ministries in the world? So that is a sign of an abusive ministry when they think that their own vision should take over the world. I mean, that was most similar to what Hitler was saying one time when he thought that, you know, the Nazi would take over the world. I mean, this is in a church organization, but it's still wrong regardless. Your ministry should not be the ministry that will take over the world. I mean, everybody has been given a gift. Every ministry has been called to fulfill a divine mandate, you know. So why should your mandate or your vision take over the world? That's another way to know that you are in an abusive ministry, okay? Next is they create a culture of fear and shame, okay? Another way to know that you are in an abusive ministry is that they create a culture of fear and shame. What do I mean? You know, I mean, touch not my anointed and do my prophet no harm. You cannot speak, you know, don't question anything. They use this phrase, it's a high matter. These matters are too high. That's how you know you are in an abusive ministry. If when you ask a question, they tell you this is a high matter, run for your life. That's abuse, okay? You know, and another thing they do is they shame you. They shame you. If you go ahead and talk, you're shamed. They shame you to keeping quiet. They shame you into submission. What they're trying to make you feel, they make you feel bad. They call you bitter. They call you all sorts of names. This is to drive you to a point where you feel lost. You mean? And I'm not talking about just, this is the whole, they'll make the whole church rally around and they like, in a way, excommunicate you from, they don't want to talk to you. They don't want to have anything to do with you. This is a way of shaming. Now that's abuse, okay? That's abuse. I just want you to know, I'm giving you points, how you can tell a spiritually abusive ministry, okay? These are spiritually abusive ministries. One other thing that you need to know is, they say they often have a charismatic leader at the helm of affairs who starts off well. He starts off well, but slips into arrogant protectionism and pride. Okay. Okay. So this leader basically starts off as being personable and interested in other issues. Then he or she eventually withdraws to a small group of yes people. So he starts off well, like everything's great, good, awesome. He cares for everybody, but then he slowly withdraws to a select yes people. He surrounds himself with yes men, people that pledge their allegiance to him, and people that would always say yes to him. They never ever would speak out or speak for the truth or whatever. These are people that this is another sign of an abusive ministry. Okay. And one other thing is this, like, if in ministries like this, if the head of the organization, the church organization, were to leave, that's the end of the ministry. Because only one person or a few group of people have, make the call, only that person. So if he leaves, that's the end of the ministry, that's how you tell. Okay. They also cultivate a dependence on one leader for spiritual information. That's another way for you to tell that you are in an abusive ministry. People are no longer opening their Bible. Whatever that preacher or the head or their president says is what they consider as truth or anything else. So this is how you know that you are in a ministry that that's abusive. They're abusing you, but you don't know. So I did want to say that. So one thing I would appeal to you guys watching this video is, okay, now we need to correct some of the errors in the church, okay? And we have to start speaking out about it. So I want to encourage you to become a change agent. And I also wanted to speak out. If you know anyone that, is going through a lot of abuse and everything, please send me a personal message on my, you can send me a private message, okay? Send me a private message and let me know your story. I'd like to document it, and we need to, part of doing the work of God is fighting for justice, okay? One of the things that Jesus wants us to do is to fight for justice. And, if you have cases or someone or you have been, please kindly send me a personal message, and I'd like to hear your story. I'd like for it to be documented as evidence, okay? So please let me know. I'm going to be ending this video soon. Let me see. Okay, I'm just reading what Uju is saying. The problem is that many Christians worship their pastors more than they worship God. That's true. And that's the atmosphere that has been created in some of these ministries. People are no longer opening their Bibles. They just wait for that spiritual leader to teach them the word. They don't even want to open the word again. And that's dependence. Okay, so a lot of these ministries, what they're doing is they're removing reliant on, you don't rely on yourself, or you don't rely on a relationship with God. What you do now is you're dependent on them. Do you understand? And that's the effect. So please, thank you so much for your time. Okay. Thank you very much for joining me today. I will be ending soon. Thank you. And don't forget to send me, send me a personal message if you have been abused or someone that has, and you like to share your story. Okay, thank you, and God bless. I'm ending soon. Thank you all for joining. Bye bye.